The biggest offering I had to make, and I think it's the most impactful, and it just impacts all the other offerings, is my mindset. I really had to take a big shift in my mindset. And even when I took this position and when I started this career, I knew I didn't want to stay to the very end. I knew that it was a journey I wanted to take, but it wasn't where I wanted to spend all of my adult working years. So I said, I have to really start thinking like someone who's not going to be here. And part of that is visualizing what it's going to be like on the other side. So I would have to be present while I'm at work, and I have to be, alert, present, focused on what I was doing to, do my job. But at the same time, every time I got a moment when I had a break or I was on lunch break, I made sure that I spent time meditating and visualizing what my life would be outside, what my typical life would be. How would I wake up? What would my mornings look like? Like, I really played it out in my head, and I would be sitting there in the dark in my office, just like smiling, like, eyes closed, seeing all the things, feeling all the feels, and putting myself in that position because I knew that I had to be there before I was going to get there. I had to be there in my mind. They say, seeing is believing, but believing is how you see. And I knew that if I didn't take that really, definite shift in my mind, that how can I shift my world? How can I shift the physical part of my life if I can't shift my thoughts? My thoughts are all mine. The things outside of me aren't exclusively mine to move around and shift it, but my thoughts, now that I can control. So I said, what, let me start practicing really being in the space of my life outside of here. So I would be, at work, and I would do all the things I needed to do, but when I got a break, when I had time, when I had my lunch break or whatever it was, I made sure I set aside time to really visualize and think about what my life would be outside of that space. And it kept me very positive, and it kept me in the moment of when I was there, I was actually there, because I didn't spend the whole time wishing I wasn't there, because I had my time. I had my time to think about that other side of my life that I was going to live. So it gave me such a healthy balance. I didn't want to be the grumpy person at work who's ready to go and everybody's going to hear about it. Where everybody knows you're about to leave, but you haven't left yet, but your energy is like you left. And I didn't want to feel like that. I didn't want to bring that energy into my space, but it's like it was a knowing, but I didn't want it to be a negative energy. So I kind of used that feeling, that urgency, that feeling that it's time, to visualize, to think about it, to meditate on it. And, that helped with manifesting it so greatly, because you can pray about things, you can hope things, but you have to do something. You have to do something, and to me, that's motivating. It's motivating to be a part of that process, to know that I have a hand in this, and I have to show. My thing is, okay, you say you want this, you can hope for it, you can pray for it, but what are you willing to do differently? So I really started with my mindset, and my thinking and thoughts led to conversations I had and conversations I wouldn't have. Not talking about the future too far, because I didn't intend to be there in the future too far. So just, kind of being more aware, having some self-awareness about what kind of words and thoughts I was putting towards what I wanted. And that really helped kind of make me see like my journey as it's all internal first. It's all internal first. I may not know exactly everything that's going to happen, but I do know it starts with me. And once I got that, my mindset for the change all set, everything else was easier. Everything else was easier. And one of the things that I thought was really helpful to me was, how can I maximize the time I have while I'm still here? Are there any connections I need to make? Are there any incentives I need to take advantage of? Any benefits I need to make sure I use so that, when I'm on the other side, it won't be something I need to do with, once I get to that side. Anything, any offerings that I was able to take advantage of there that I felt would be helpful for me once I got to the other side, I did that. If there was free financial planning, employee assistance program where they give you financial planning, I signed up for that. I made sure I did everything I could that would assist me on the other side. So it wasn't like I'm just waiting to get out of there. Like, I got stuff to do. I have things I can take advantage of. I have an agenda here. I'm just not counting the days. And it made the time between my decision, knowing that I know I was going to leave soon, and the time when I actually left, so much more productive. The last part, which kind of leads it, is from, kind of connected to this, is my financial life. How much did I feel like I needed to save? What is a realistic number for me in terms of emergency, investments? Like, what do I need to do in order for this transition to be something that I don't want to live check to check, even if I'm not getting a check. You know what I mean? Like, I want to make sure that I am making this transition, and whatever happens along the way, I'm not, starting from scratch. I have to have some type of cushion, some type of a plan, investments. What am I doing? Like, so I had my work cut out for me. So it wasn't like it was, okay, I'm just going to leave and, I'm feeling it. I'm not feeling it anymore. I had things that I could be doing, and that's what I did. I used my time and my energy to focus on the preparation, the getting ready and the offerings. And it really made that time between knowing and making my leap more productive, more positive. It was motivating. I really felt like I was, offering the things that I needed on the other side. And one of the things that I did was, I wanted to get a business vehicle. So I purchased a van while I was still working, and I paid it off before I left. So it was like, okay, I had all of this homework, this positive, homework that was pulling me or moving me close to where I wanted to be. And like I always say, you can't answer all the questions before they're asked. You don't know what is going to be on the other side. You don't know the challenges you're going to face. But what you can do is create a realistic plan for yourself, where you've at least made an effort to, create a space for yourself that feels safe when you make this transition, because it's still going to be scary, because you just don't know what's on the other side. But what you can do is you can do whatever is available to you. And that really, really helped me get ready. Like, that was so confidence building, and it made me feel very alive in the journey. Made me feel very, like I really wanted it. Because sometimes you don't want to do something, or you don't want to be somewhere, and it after complaining, that's as far as you can go. Like, you just complain about it, and then still do the same thing. But once you set up a plan and once you start working your plan, it was just, it made it so much more exciting. And once all of those things came together, I started realizing all the things that were really important to me started just becoming very, very clear. I became much more defined on what was important to me. What exactly like there was it got to the point where I realized I don't think I want anything more than my freedom. Like this is like there's nothing I can think of that I want to buy that I don't already have that I could really say I have to wait for. Like what am I waiting for? What is it that I need that is more important than this? And if this is what I want, then I should be willing to do what it takes to get there. And again, I try to emphasize this. It looks different for everyone. It looks different. Preparation looks different for everyone. Everyone has to do what makes sense for them. But once you know what makes sense for you, you can get on with the business of making it happen. And once I started that journey of offerings that were specific to a timeline, it just changed everything. It just changed everything. And it didn't take out the scariness and the leap and the journey of overcoming my fear of that level of change, but it did make me feel it made me aware that this is not something that is outside of me. I'm a part of this. This is not just a decision and now I'm out there. No, this is a beautiful, evolving experience that I'm grateful to be a part of, and that is going to build me up. It's going to make me stronger in the future. So I was very grateful for that. And once I got to the point where those things were satisfied, like the things I knew I could just tangibly work on and check off my list, once I got to that point, and even though there were gaps, and things that I would like to have or, would have been ideal, there was so much more on the other side that was a blessing, that unknowing blessings that happen. And I always say, we get rewarded for our faith. We get rewarded for our faith. And I was just very grateful for that. So that's my journey, and that's how I got ready for the leap. So thank you for spending this time with me on Wellness Women Words. Be sure to subscribe, share, comment, and continue this journey with me. Until next time, be well.